If you want to fly drones professionally and make it a career, you really need to be licensed and certified.
I think certainly people should become licensed. I think ultimately it will make for a much safer industry if people are educated and licensed and understand the environment that they're operating in.
If you're licensed and certified as an operator, what it does is it gives you greater understanding of the operating environment for RPAS.
To be certified, this day and age is incredibly important. We've got less restrictions because we've done our training, we've got our qualifications.
If you're looking to use it as a job, a lot of people that are going to hire you are going to look for qualifications.
If you want to operate properly, you want to go out and you want to do those big jobs, you want to operate in all areas, then getting licensed is mandatory in our opinion.
If you're operating under the sub 2 kilo rules, you can't get the same privileges. So there's no way you can operate within 3 nautical miles of the movement area of a controlled aerodrome. There's no way you can get an exemption to operate at night time. You can't operate any closer than 30 metres to people. So you've effectively excluded yourself from a large area of the market. So by getting some education around the industry, it will give you some credibility within the industry as well as your clients. And it also allows you to gain exemptions that sub 2 kilo operators cannot get.
The other benefits of that is it does allow you to be insured, so we're not going to be the person that if something goes wrong, we lose our house.
Just about every production I work on asks for my licence because they have to apply for permits to film and they won't get the permits from national parks, councils, building owners, the various places that we film. They can't get those without my having a licence and my being insured.
I became licensed and certified because I wanted to run a proper business and I wanted to have the confidence that I was always going to be operating in a safe manner.
There is a whole other world out there of aviation that we need to safely be operating within the framework of. And when we're operating our drone, we become a user of that airspace. So how do we safely operate in the airspace without affecting commercial aviation at the same time?
Because if you're going to fly drones, you have to be very mindful of who you might run into up there. I can give you a perfect example, like flying on the northern beaches, we've often had to do shoots out that way, and if you didn't know how to read the maps and know that there was a flight route just off coast, you'd be out there. And the number of times I've been there and been on the radio and been able to talk to the pilots and have them tell me, I know we're this far away, we're that far away, so I could go out there safely. If I didn't know that, I would so easily have been in their flight path and causing grief.
If you don't have that education behind you, how do you know that you're operating safely and not going to cause a risk or a potential problem to an aviation environment? Secondly, there's no such thing as too much education. You can always further your learnings and get better educated on the issues around commercial operators.
The analogy I use is you wouldn't let anyone just get on a moped and drive around the roads because they're sharing that road with cars and trucks who have their licence and are operating under rules they're familiar with.
There are 2 different types of licences you need to be aware of. The first licence you have is your RePL. That stands for your Remote Pilot's Licence, which is like your car licence for driving on the road. So this is your individual licence for the person that's actually physically flying.
To obtain your remote pilot licence, you'll need to undertake a course. You'll need to find an approved training company and they're certified by CASA.
For me, it was as simple as going onto the CASA website, going to the list that they have of all the approved training organisations, finding the closest one near me and getting in contact.
Getting an ARN, getting a remote pilot licence, it's not a big ask. 1 week or so of training to say that is how you safely operate in airspace, now go for it.
You're learning from experts in the field, so people who have been there, done that, and they can pass down that knowledge that they have obtained.
At the end of the course, you'll sit an exam where you're tested to make sure you can fly that particular type of machine safely. From there, CASA will issue you with your remote pilot licence.
I really wanted to get my remote pilot licence because for me it was about taking my drone experience to the next level. I'd been a recreational flyer for a little while, but I really wanted to find out what it takes to make a professional career out of it.
We train people from all areas. A very popular area is surveying, mine surveying, construction surveying. We have guys go out and do real estate type photography, videography. So I've trained a few people from the TV stations like cameramen.
You are an aviator, you are a part of an aviation environment, and they teach you what you need to know to be a part of that environment and really engage in that arena responsibly.
So once you've completed your remote pilot licence, you'll be amazed at what you didn't know before you started.
The sorts of things you'll learn include how to interpret the weather forecast to see if it might impact on your operation, reading aeronautical charts to work out if manned aircraft might be operating near you, such as helicopters.
From maintenance to basic understanding of your aircraft, aerodynamics, human factors, pre-flight planning, battery-related safety, understanding weather patterns, thunderstorms and windage, and reading NOTAMs and weather forecasts, how to use your radio. As part of the course, you get an AReOC, an Australian Radio Operator Certificate as well. There's a whole lot that really goes into the course, and there's 4 or 5 days of full-on learning from 9 till 5 in the afternoon, and that tied in with flight time as well. That was the one thing I really learned, was how professional the industry is. I think there's a real split between recreational operators and the professional operators. By the end, you walk away knowing that you're just so much more professional than you were at the start.
It was a week of learning that's certainly been invaluable to the safe operation of our business.
There are 2 ways of being able to receive an income as a drone pilot. The first is to operate under CASA's sub 2 kilo excluded category that has a set of standard operating conditions that allow you to conduct a simple business. Or for more complex operations, like operating near people, over a populous area, nighttime, or a fleet of drones, you'll need to come to CASA and apply for an RPA operator certificate, or work for a company that has an operator certificate.
Within the several years as an instructor, and also now the time I've been with CASA, I've seen so many success stories. These people have come to the course, they've got the elevated knowledge, and now they've actually moved on to bigger and greater things. Without that knowledge, they wouldn't have done that. The drone industry is one of the fastest growing industries at the moment. So we're seeing a 3% growth every week in just the work that we're coming through, which is just unprecedented.
I mean, the great thing about drone technology is it cuts across so many different industries in society these days.
Well, we do aerial photography, primary in conservation and anything over the marine environment. So we do a lot of shark surveillance along the New South Wales coast, a lot of the marine life, turtles, penguins, whales, dolphins, everything. We also do a lot of aerial inspections or aerial mapping as well.
Drone technology is getting better and better every day. We're seeing applications like parcel delivery, 3D mapping, agriculture, life-saving, and we'll see many more applications into the future.
It seems like new capabilities are being found for drones on a daily basis. It's ever-changing as you watch it. So thermal imaging is used in a number of different avenues. It allows us to make the invisible visible. So we're using it in facilities management for picking up defects, groundwater leaks, gas detection, identifying feral animals, doing deer counting.
The other aspect is on high-end assets, so inspecting communication towers, power lines and oil and gas rigs as examples.
Currently some of our projects on are doing progressional builds of people's houses. We're also looking at doing weddings for bridal parties and the like. It means we can just get the better shots. We can fly at night. It's a great thing. It's an exciting field.
As a wildlife filmmaker, this whole drone thing has completely revolutionised it for us. I mean, we fly with birds now. Finding animals in their world, finding marine creatures, for example, they don't see the drone as any kind of threat. They see it as another seabird. And so you're in amongst bait balls, you're flying with magpie geese. It's amazing what you can do with this thing. The licensing really does open the door.
The great thing about getting your remote pilot licence is once you have it, you have that for life. So you really become part of the aviation community, and I would highly recommend it to anyone.
More details on getting your licence can be found on CASA's website.